Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Wallace here, showcasing the build from the planner that you probably found this video from. If not, there's a planner attached to this video. The main point of this video is going to be quick and straight to the point. I'm just going to give a quick rundown of how the build looks, how it works, so maybe you can get a better idea of how it plays and if you want to play it. Just got a little kind of a boosted map here, nothing too crazy, just to kind of showcase a little bit of what's going on. We'll just run this crypt. Monster level 80, nothing too crazy. Before we get into it, just a quick rundown of what's going on here. Basically, the clear is just in Gas Arrow Poison Cloud. What we can see is the DPS here says 1469. Whatever, it's not really something I'm looking at when it comes to this build. This build is mainly chaos damage, being that I'm running the Voltaxic, which is converting lightning damage into chaos damage, and everything that comes from the bow is going to be lightning damage because it's what's equipped. Mine's only at 94%, but it has a huge increase to lightning damage because I corrupted it to 1 to 340. Regardless, we're just boosting on the end of the conversion, so I'm not boosting my lightning damage, I'm boosting increased chaos damage wherever I can find it. Running the snake bites so we can affect targets from more than one poison at a time. A lot of that is stacked in the passive tree. You can see that all in the planner. I will attach the planner in the description down in the bottom there. The Bushwhack Lizard Scale Boots is really good because physical damage is pinning. The physical damage that we're going to be doing is mainly with Plague Bearer. Rain of Arrows is going to do some physical damage. It's going to stack up our Frenzy charges really fast because we're using Combat Frenzy. So when you pin, you get frenzy charges, and because of those frenzy charges, our Rain of Arrows is going to get an insane amount added to the rain itself. You can see the chaos damage on this is pretty good per second, considering we're shooting 50 arrows. One frenzy charge is going to make it 100 arrows, and then if we have 3 frenzy charges, gosh, that's another 100% on top of 100, so 200 arrows per rain. And it's pretty big considering we're running Wither and Corrosion on our Rain of Arrows, and we're also getting a poison damage from these. So obviously armor break from poison damage 80%. We're gonna destroy armor with the Rain of Arrows. It's great for bossing, but like I was saying before, our Gas Arrow, the Poison Cloud here, you can see this is our estimated poison damage per second. That's really what we're looking at when it comes to the Gas Arrow. Not really using the explosion. Sometimes there's fire on the ground and you can't really control it and it'll blow up. It does a decent amount of damage, but it's not necessarily relative to what we're concerned about. This poison damage per second is nice. On top of having Herald of the Plague, in most cases you can just shoot one Gas Arrow with our scatter shot that we have ran into a crowd, and that will just clear the crowd. But other than that, Plague Bearer with Plague Nova with Gas Arrow is all we're going to need to clear maps with. When it comes to bosses, I'll show later when we do a little bit of a breach, do a Zesh kill just so you can understand how the bossing would look. Besides that, let's just get right into it and just get an idea of what it looks like so you guys can see how I play the build. There's probably some room for improvement somewhere along the way. This map isn't too stacked, but it's not nothing. As you can see, we just fire a couple Gas Arrows, and for the most part, Plague Bearer is going to take care of them with all this poison damage. Anything that's not taken care of, we're just going to instantly get that 100% on Plague Bearer, aka Plague Nova. You can see that it gets up to 100% really fast with just one Gas Arrow. That in itself can spread Plague. As you can see, it just cleared all of those mobs with just one Nova from... They were off the screen at that point. You can see how easily it can just push through waves and waves and waves of enemies with just one Gas Arrow, one Plague Nova. If you're feeling crazy, you can obviously spend your frenzy charges here and cast down a Rain of Arrows. It's not insane. It's really more or less used for the bossing aspect of this build. When it comes to bossing, our main damage is going to be Gas Arrows with Toxic Growth spams. And when we're spamming these Toxic Growths, they're going to do poison damage to the boss, which is going to give us our Plague Nova. Obviously, we're going to be despairing bosses to lower Chaos Res. And on top of that, we're going to be withering them and breaking their armor with Rain of Arrows. It's going to be, it is an exceptional amount of damage. Because I'm running Acolyte of Chayula here, which I'll show you the passive tree. We do have Chaos Resistance is doubled, plus 10 to max. So of course we're going to use that. 85% Chaos, maxed out resistances. I'm at 116, which is unnecessary, but it just happened to come with that. Into the Breach is going to be phenomenal for extra Chaos damage. If I can grab some, you can easily see that number climb. As of right now, you can see that it's at 4324. And just grabbing 2 stacks of Purple Flames, we jump up. 3 stacks of Purple Flames. Purple Flames are going to stack us up big, plus double duration, of course, because of the Ascendancy passive that we have. This build is super safe. For the most part, you can just run around and clear from a distance if you want to. I get a little complacent because I've been playing the build for quite some time. So I kind of just run through and do whatever I can. Kind of the beauty of the Omen that saves XP if you die. Being above level 85, it's usually smart to run the Omen. If you don't know what Omen I'm talking about, it's the Omen of Amelioration. But for the most part, this is exactly what the clear is going to look like. If I don't want to use Flag Nova at all, I can easily do that. But you can see how easily it stacks up to 100%. And 100% on this Plague Nova is not a joke. And when you hit a wave of enemies with it, as you can see, it's spreading that plague across all of these mobs. So here we're going to shoot the Rain of Arrows because we have this Essence coming out. Shoot a gas arrow over there, everything will die considering we have Herald of the Plague. Just like that. Finish off the rest. It's pretty straightforward to clear. It's not too insane. It's more or less just, if you guys don't, this is clearly an off meta build. It's not going to be an absolute blaster through maps like Lightning Spear might be, or Infernalist Witch with crit fire and the charm, of course, but this is more or less just for the off meta, someone trying to have a little bit of extra fun. Maybe you wanted to do a poison build and you've always wanted to do the Acolyte of Chayula. This is just a really good option. That's where I was sitting. I'm not a big fan of running meta builds. I just don't have a lot of fun running them. I get bored very easily. And like last league, the Lightning Arrow Ranger, the Ice Monk, whatever it may be. Oh nice, we got a Rogue Exile. We can kind of see where the damage comes in on the Rogue Exile. We're just going to pop Rain of Arrows into a Despair, into an instant Plague Nova. Little frame droppy there because there's a lot going on, but for the most part this is super safe. I don't have to do much. I just toss a couple gas arrows out. If I have frenzy charges I can use them, like I did on the Rogue Exile there. Nothing too crazy. But these gas arrows with this toxic growth can really be used at any distance. I am running long shot as a support gem on my toxic growth because it is nice to be a distance away while using it. As you can see, running long shot, heft for the extra max physical, momentum, because what's weird about this, if you use this from this far away, here, let me get rid of this. You can see I'm jumping up and there's no green flash on my character, but the closer my mouse is to myself, you can see that flash that gives me extra damage. Now, it doesn't have to be directly next to yourself, just a little bit of a distance away, and you can get that extra damage. It's potential for swapping at the end of the day, and we're not going to get anything good from this ritual. But for the most part, this is the mapping, so now you maybe have a better understanding of how the clear goes. But for now, let's just move on to Zesht to show you what bossing is going to look like. Alright, let's go. Alright, so let's get into the Breach boss. We're just going to do a quick rundown. I haven't done Zesht too much this league, so it's just going to be a simple Zesht, just more or less to show how the bossing is going to go. A quick rundown of how the bossing goes, just in case I don't explain it well during the fight. We are going to deploy a Toxic Growth preemptively because it lasts a long time until you hit it with poison, so it's just going to be there ready for us. We're going to do it from a distance away so the long shot is applied. And we're going to set up the first one with a momentum, so just extra damage off the first burst. Despair is going to come out next, on top of Rain of Arrows. These two, it doesn't really matter which order you do it in. Technically, I feel like Rain of Arrows is better to do first because it'll shoot a lot more arrows over time and build that Wither. Despair is not going to last as long, so we're going to have to keep recasting it. Regardless, it's going to be a Toxic Growth into a Rain of Arrows, into a Despair, and from there, we're just going to be shooting Gas Arrows and Toxic Growth, which is going to stack Poison for our Plague Bearer. On top of that, I forgot to mention Plague Bearer. You can see that it stores right now up to 15.9k poison damage, which is a really good amount of poison damage. So when we release that Plague Bearer every single time, you'll see how fast it stacks to 100%. We're just going to keep putting that damage out, and burning Zesht with all that poison damage. I'm not right now, but you easily can run Astral Projection on your Plague Bearer. If you don't like getting in close and you just want to sit far away, shoot Gas Arrow, shoot Toxic Growth, Astral Project, cast your Plague Bearer. You can definitely easily get away with that. I think it might honestly be better, but me, I don't care too much for it. If I get a perfect gem soon, I'll just throw Astral Projection on there. It does get rid of 25% less area effect, but if you run Magnified Effect, technically Magnified Effect is just giving it 5% more area of effect if you run them both together. But the thing about Plague Nova is it gets 600% area of effect from the stored poison. So the area effect is already massive. So Astral Projection really doesn't disable that very much, but it is an option. But alright, enough talk. I'm pretty sure I grabbed a Breachstone. I did. Let's go ahead and run a Zesht and just show you how the bossing works so you can get an idea of what this build looks like in both the clearing aspect and the bossing aspect. So it helps you make the decision whether or not you want to use this build. If it looks fun, it's whatever. Either way, this is just a quick showcase if anyone is confused at how it's supposed to look. Because sometimes just looking at a skill planner isn't going to be the best. I'm sure most people would like to see the build in action. Maybe I should focus up a bit for this, I'm not sure. This build clears like an absolute monster, so I'm not too worried about it. As you can see, we're just Gas Arrow. I have Frenzy Charges galore. If I wanted to, I can put out a Rain of Arrows. Being that the Breach constantly moves, the Rain of Arrows isn't going to be super potent. We're really just trying to push through with Gas Arrows. It builds up that 100% Plague Bearer so fast. Just a couple Gas Arrows on a few mobs is just our instant 16,000 poison damage stored. The way that the passive tree is set up, and with our Snakebite gloves, we actually can have up to 5 stacks of poison, I believe, on an enemy. So whatever the DPS says, I believe that's per poison damage stack. So I guess technically Plague Nova, if you get it off enough times in a row, you could have 16k times 5 applied doing damage per second. We are also running the passive node in which our poison, well, damaging ailments deal damage X% faster. I believe the total number is 32. You can get that in Sapphire gems as well. If you look at the gems that I'm running in the planner, you can see that I've opted for chaos damage and magnitude, as well as some other things that I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but you can see that in the planner. For now, you can see the breach is pretty easy. This is a low level breach. Pretty sure this is entry. This is entry or +1 difficulty, I don't remember. Haven't done too much Zesht, just honestly been crafting and theory crafting this build for optimization. And like I said before, I'm fairly certain that there is room for optimization. I just really wanted to use this unique bow. It's a really slept on bow. It sells really cheap. I mean, you can get one with 1 to 200 lightning damage for 1x. You can get one with 1 to 300 lightning damage for 1x. And it doesn't need quality because it doesn't actually have any physical. breach rings. No breach rings, unfortunately. My filter right now is absolutely bonkers. But I have mine qualityed up to 20%, but you can see that they get 1% more physical damage for quality. This doesn't have any physical damage on it. I did it just in case when I corrupted it, it got physical damage for some reason. It didn't. Technically, you can buy a bunch of these and just put 2 sockets in them and corrupt them like crazy. In this case, I corrupted this one and it went 1 to 340 lightning damage. In that case, the price does go up a little bit. But usually you can get them for 1x and just corrupt them and try to get a super juicy one. We're going to try the Zesh now. And hopefully we can do it without a death here, so I might have to just focus up a bit. You can kind of see how I set things up. I'll explain a little bit as I do it. We know the timing on this boss fight for the most part. The moment he gets out of the chair, we're going to set up this Toxic Growth. So now that's stacked with our damage. Pretty bad luck on this opener there. So we're just going to start off by stacking as much poison as I can get. And not die. Plague Bearer. You can see how much damage we're doing per second here. We're going to get behind him. Another pop of Plague Bearer. Keep that Despair stack. One more Toxic Growth to get full poison. Before I can even Plague Nova him again, he's already dead for the poison. It's a very quick kill. It's also very safe, especially if you're running Astral Projection. On top of me picking up all of these purples, our damage is just getting exponentially higher every time I pick up all these purples. Poison damage per second going up to 61.37, 67.41, 73.46, 79.50. Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Either way, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be checking out. And if you also have any optimization ideas that maybe I can use or whatever we can do to make this build better, a quick rundown of what we got for charms. I'm using the unique thawing charm because if you're going to use a thawing charm, why not use the unique one? And this antidote charm, probably could swap this out for something. It just seemed good. I also don't have 3 slots, so I'm just kind of doing whatever I can. Let's see what we get real quick. Good roll. Not the best roll. Either way, not phenomenal roll on the amulet, that is. But that's the build. That's what it looks like. And like I already said, questions and concerns and optimizations in the comments. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. If you think the build's cool, let me know. Either way, peace out, much love, and good luck and have fun.